On and off heavy rain for several days in a row caused flash flooding issues across the region, but a break could be coming soon. Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel has the latest on the diminishing flood threat. Paige?
Yes, that is right. Diminishing flood threat. It's finally good to talk about that. We are seeing that flash flood watch expiring a little bit early for really a good majority of our counties. You see that here. We're still hanging on to that flash flood watch for our Virginia and West Virginia counties, but I think that'll expire here right before 8 o'clock as well. And it's really because those showers and storms that we thought were going to be a little bit more on the strong to severe side, they're really not producing that much heavy rainfall, which is some really good news as we head into the rest of those evening hours. So for now, expect a break until we head into your Friday weekend. Looking a little bit different, but those soggy conditions earlier this morning was why we kept that flash flood threat until this evening. But you're seeing there that line of showers and storms really dying down as it moved into our area. Temperatures not too bad. Those mid to upper 70s. They're going to feel pretty good as we head into the rest of the evening and overnight hours as that cold front continues to push through, bringing a little bit of some gusty winds. You'll notice out west into parts of London, Richmond, and even into Somerset, gusting anywhere from about 5, 10, 15 miles per hour. Those are going to shift from the north, which will bring in a little bit of cooler air for that first full day of summer. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Paige. We have a developing story happening right now. Crews are searching for nearly a dozen hikers lost in the Red River Gorge. The Powell County Search and Rescue Team says the hikers were dropped off last night. No one has heard from them since. Crews are searching in the Gray's Arch Trail area. Crews in Laurel County responded to a call earlier today. They thought it was a rescue mission as they received reports of a car stuck in high water. But when they got there, they discovered the car had been abandoned. The driver apparently had tried to drive through the high water, got stuck, and just left the vehicle. The car later was towed out of the water. Some livestock in the bluegrass could be in for a long, hungry winter. With all of this rain the past few days, it's become a challenge for farmers to bale hay. Experts say the problem farmers are running into is that they cannot cut and bale fast enough before more rain comes. Farmers' ideal conditions are dry hay ready to be stored and fed to cattle come wintertime, but with the constant rain, they are running out of time. Certain types of hay lose nutrients the longer it grows.
All the rain that we've had this year is really, it's got us behind in a lot of ways. It's also been helpful in a few. We've had a lot of good grazing for cattle and that. We've been able to grow a lot of grass, which has been nice. But as far as getting up hay, it's been really tough.
Experts say this is also a time fellow farmers should consider coming together to get this hay baled as soon as possible. Today we learned the names of the people found dead inside a Letcher County home. Yesterday, state troopers found 56-year-old Debbie Foss and 55-year-old Ronald Frazier shot. As of now, police have not determined exactly what led to the shooting. Both Foss and Frazier were sent to Frankfort for an autopsy. Also today, state police released the names of the troopers involved in an officer-involved shooting on June 11th. 58-year-old Zindel Noble was killed in Perry County that night. Investigators say he shot Trooper Brad Martin during the incident. The trooper is expected to make a full recovery. Trooper Ronnie Long and Perry County Deputy Kevin Day also returned fire. Deputy Day, along with the troopers Long and Martin, were placed on administrative leave. The search for this man, Nicholas Rucker, now enters its second month. Investigators think he killed his girlfriend, Vicki Connor, in the Woodbine community. Last week, the family of Connor announced they are raising money for a $10,000 reward for Rucker's arrest. A fugitive on the run from Arkansas is in jail today in the Laurel County Corrections Center after being arrested by sheriff's deputies. The sheriff says deputies responded to a call at a home where they encountered Roger Lovell, who gave them a false Social Security number. When they investigated, they discovered Lovell was on the run from Arkansas and also had an outstanding warrant from Russell County. He is facing multiple charges. The clock is ticking for state lawmakers to figure out a solution before pension payouts skyrocket for quasi-governmental agencies. Yesterday, we learned a special session could be called after the July 1st deadline. WYP's Justin Case is talking to Senator Brandon Smith and other lawmakers about the proposed deal. Justin?
Steve, I'm here in Hazard in front of the Perry County Health Department, just one of the many quasi-governmental agencies that could be affected if a new bill is not passed. Now, yesterday, the Courier-Journal had an interview with Governor Bevin's Deputy Chief of Staff. Now, Brian Sunderland says the Bevin administration believes it does have enough votes to pass a bill, one that would give relief to these quasi-governmental agencies. In talking with Senator Brandon Smith, he says he has not had any conversations with the Bevin administration about the new bill. However, he does say he expects a special session to be called very soon. But with the deadline to pass new legislation being July 1st, he says many agencies, state agencies, could be affected in a negative way. He expects that if legislation is passed, it will have a retroactive fix for the agencies that are affected in the meantime.
Fixing this thing after the crisis has happened, if we miss this deadline, and it does cause people to lose their job, it's kind of like putting your seatbelt on after the crash. And so the good thing is this. I mean, there's a lot of positives from the pension thing. Is everybody's talking about it. You know, I've been in office for a long time, and there was never really this kind of emphasis. There was not an in-depth look at it. There was not this many people that were concerned about it.
Steve, we also talked with Representative Angie Hatton just a short time ago, and we talked with her on the phone. We're actually about to go meet with her shortly, but she said that she's hesitant to support any new bill that she actually hasn't personally seen. And remember, Governor Bevin vetoed a bill last April, one that would have given a one-year delay on these higher contribution rates. We'll have much more on this full story coming up tonight at 11. Steve?
All right. Definitely a controversial issue that continues. Thank you, Justin. Well, some of those agencies caught in the crosshairs are local health departments. As Justin was just standing in front of one, and WYMT's Will Puckett talked to a director of another who said they were in bad shape already, but planning ahead has helped some.
Director Pete Shepard said for a while things were getting tight.
If we hadn't made the plans, we would have shut down. Probably within 4 to 5 months.
In the 6 years Shepard has been the director, he has seen his staff numbers drop from 19 to 10.
I had 2 of my employees was going to be 20 years next year, and they was afraid that they might have to leave the health department without their 20 years. So I've made it sure that they're going to be here another year, at least to get their 20 years in.
As uncertainty continues here in Frankfort, it boils over to buildings like this one, where steps are being taken to make sure some services can continue.
We'll just be basically on the line. I mean, we'll just basically be able to survive.
Services are trimmed back now.
Cervical cancer screenings, breast cancer screenings, things of that nature, we've had to just eliminate those.
And the prospect of a raise?
None of my employees will be able to ever have a raise, probably in their lifetime.
But despite it all, they keep moving, hoping this debacle will end, saving vital services for some of Kentucky's most at risk. In Magoffin County, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, when Senator Ralph Alvarado, and Lieutenant Governor candidate, was in town last month, he said he did see a possibility of making a bill retroactive in case it was passed after the July 1st deadline. Now, here's a breakdown of how each mountain health department will be impacted by no deal. I believe we have a map highlighted in red are counties where departments would be solvent for less than a year. In yellow, there are 2 years of solvency. Very few, as you can see, would not be impacted. A couple include Johnson and Martin counties. Well, it is a night where players' dreams come true, the NBA draft. Since John Calipari was named head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, UK has produced more draft picks than any other school. Sports director Marcus Browning has a preview with the NBA draft just more than 1 hour away now. Marcus.
Yeah, Steve, there have been 35 UK players drafted since John Calipari moved to Lexington, 14 more than any other school. 3 more guys look to add to that total this evening. P.J. Washington, Tyler Hero, and Keldon Johnson are all first-round projections and were invited to the NBA Draft Green Room for this evening's draft. The players say that it is nice to have some fellow teammates alongside them on one of the biggest nights of their lives.
It's good. I seen them earlier. We were in a little meeting together, so the team has just been great. I'm excited for them. Been talking to them this whole process. I actually seen Tyler in Miami, chilling with him, watching the game. So just excited to see my guys, and I'm just as much as happy as them for them to get drafted as well.
Yeah, it's just a good thing to see Keldon and PJ when we're on the road like this. Obviously, we spent a lot of time together, so it's a good anytime you can see your teammates.
Kentucky has produced 26 first-round selections since 2010, 9 more than any other school as well. And if projections are correct, the first-round total will increase to 29 tonight. I'll have more on the NBA draft coming up in just a few minutes up in sports. Steve.
All right. Thank you, Marcus. A Powell County family is dealing with an unimaginable loss after a 10-year-old girl died yesterday in a crash. Her friend, a 6-year-old girl, suffered serious injuries. Victor Puente talked to the father of the little girl who died. He explains how she's being remembered.
The father of the young girl who was killed told me she had the best heart of anyone he's ever known. They're now holding on to those happy memories while dealing with a terrible loss. On Wednesday afternoon, Richard Wachter was driving with his 10-year-old daughter, Michaela, and her 6-year-old friend when he came to the intersection of Boone Creek Road and Kentucky 213. Heavy rain had pushed gravel into the road, and police say when he tried to stop, he went into the intersection. His car was hit by a work truck.
I feel that this was just an accident as a result of some of the recent weathers and stuff. So.
Deputies say both girls were wearing their seat belts in the back seat, but Michaela would die at St. Joseph Mount Sterling. Even for first responders, that death hit hard.
He was visibly shaken. He was actually crying a little bit about it. And he said, this is one of my first pediatric runs, and said, I'm not used to it.
Richard Wachter told me Michaela woke up with a smile on her face every day. He said she loved church and never said a mean word to anyone. He wants people to remember her as a girl who loved everyone she met. Richard Wachter shared one other story about his daughter with me. He said one year they were trick-or-treating when someone dressed as a clown jumped out and scared her. He said she dropped her candy, and that man apologized and offered a hug. He said Michaela gave him one, and afterwards he asked her, "Aren't you afraid of clowns?" And she said, "Yeah, Daddy, I am, but I didn't want to be mean." In Powell County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Now they are raising money to help pay for Michaela's funeral.
And the good news is, as we head into the evening and even into your first official day of summer, good news is sunshine returns, but those storms return pretty quickly, looking like a little bit of a drier work week as well. I'll have a look at that full forecast next.
And just ahead at 6, flooding in Pike County leaves one woman without a home. We'll talk to her and show you the damage. Plus, a city's community center that closed years ago is a step closer to reopening.